Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another day of learning. Your teachers today are Candy and Amanda. Get ready for another fun episode full of learning.
Hi, scholars. We're so excited to see you again today. Remember, my name is Amanda.
And my name is Candy. We have our buddy Rattenborough with us again today.
Hi, y'all. I can't wait to work with all of you on sentences and sentence parts today.
And on our agenda today, we have subjects, predicates, and linking verbs.
Oh, I know about subjects and predicates. Those are the two parts of a sentence. The subject tells who or what the sentence is about. And the predicate tells what the subject is doing. Did or will do.
Rattenborough, that was a perfect explanation. The predicate is where we can find the verb. That verb can often be found at the very beginning of the predicate.
True. So let's look at some sentences so we can practice with the subject and the predicate.
Scholars at home, read these sentences with me. Linda Lee shows us a picture of a bat. The hungry boy eats the tasty meal.
Since we reviewed subject and predicate, let's find them both. What's the subject of the first sentence? Scholars, remember the subject answers the question who or what.
For the first sentence, if you said Linda Lee, you were correct. Linda Lee is a noun. Rattenborough, do you know what kind of noun that is?
Well, I know that is a person's name, and it's capitalized. So that must be a proper noun. Precisely. A sentence subject is usually a noun. Candy is going to circle the subject. Let's see if we can find an action verb. Ask yourself what's happening. What's the action? Oh, I heard someone say it. That's it. Shows. This is the verb in the sentence, and it's the beginning of the predicate. To remind us this is a verb, Candy is going to draw a squiggly line under shows. Next, she's going to draw a line in between Lee and shows. This line divides the subject and the predicate. The line comes right before the verb. Now, let's read that predicate together. Shows us a picture of a bat. So, the subject is Linda Lee, and the predicate is shows us a picture of a bat. I noticed that there are some other nouns in this sentence too. Oh, you're correct. Scholars, what are some other nouns that you see?
I think I heard a few more. Picture and bat are both nouns as well.
Those nouns are not capitalized. Oh, Rattenborough, I am so glad you noticed that. Scholars, any ideas as to why they aren't capitalized? I heard it. Those are common nouns, not proper nouns. So no capitalization is necessary.
Let's look back at the second sentence. The hungry boy eats the tasty meal.
What's the subject of this sentence? Rattenborough, what are your tips on finding the subject? Well, the subject answers who or what. That's right. Now, the who of this sentence is the hungry boy. Scholars, do you remember what we call a word that describes a noun?
If you said adjective, you're right. Which of these words in the hungry boy describes a noun?
Hungry tells about the boy. That's describing a noun. Hungry is the adjective. Yes, now Candy is going to circle the noun. Now she's going to put a box around the adjective. Watch this. She's drawing an arrow from hungry. That arrow is pointing to boy.
I did that to show that hungry is describing boy. Any other adjectives?
Candy, the word the is a special kind of adjective. It's called an article. So Candy, put a box around the and draw an arrow from the to boy. Hey, I see another noun too. Scholars, did you spot it? Yes, there it is, meal. Candy better circle that one too. I agree. What about any adjectives to describe this noun?
I'll draw a box around tasty because it describes meal. Then I'll draw an arrow from tasty to meal.
Phew, this is getting me hungry. Rattenborough, let's get your mind off the food and back to subjects and predicates. Where should Candy draw the line to divide the subject and the predicate? I'm going to get in line at the buffet in between the cheese pizza and the cheesy bread. Rattenborough, focus. Oh, yes. Subjects and predicates. Okay, the line should go in between boy and eats. I agree. Candy has drawn that line between boy and eats. Why? Well, eats is the action. That's what's happening in the sentence.
Exactly. I'll draw a squiggly line under eats since it's the verb. Now, let's read the entire predicate. Eats the tasty meal.
And I'm still hungry. Well, Rattenborough, this next sentence is probably going to make you even hungrier. Read it with the scholars at home. The cookies are sweet and yummy. Oh man, now I want cookies. Can we go to a commercial break?
Not quite yet, Rattenborough. Let's focus on the words.
Phew, okay. Let me see. Interesting. I don't see an action verb in this sentence. I was wondering if you would notice that. This sentence does not have an action verb. Instead, it has a special kind of verb called a linking verb.
That's right. A linking verb connects or links the subject to a word or words in the predicate that describe it. Linking verbs show no action.
That's it, Candy. No action. So, let's look at the sentence. What's the subject, scholars? Aha! Cookies. Are there any words that describe cookies? Sweet, yummy. And that's the truth. Cookies are so sweet and yummy.
Great job, Rattenborough. Is there a word that connects cookies to sweet and yummy?
Well, it's got to be are. You are correct. There is a word are, and it is linking that from cookies to sweet and yummy. The word are doesn't show any action. It connects the subject to the adjectives that describe it. Candy will draw a squiggly line under are.
Now, just like action verbs, linking verbs are often the very first word in the predicate. So let's get these words boxed and circled. First, I'll draw the division line between cookies and are.
By the way, I'm still hungry, but I can still help. Well, we're very grateful for your help, Rattenborough. So, which word do we circle? Circle cookies, since it's the noun in the subject.
Yes. Now, what about the adjectives?
Let's box sweet and then box yummy. Hey, don't forget about the. Scholars, do you remember what special kind of adjective the is?
I heard it. The word the is an article.
Candy will now draw arrows from all the adjectives to the noun they describe. Cookies! They all describe cookies. Awesome, Rattenborough. You are great at this. If I promise you a cheese wedge after this lesson, would you read this next sentence to help Candy with the words? Gladly, let's roll. The dog seems droopy and sad. First, ask who or what? What? The dog. Candy circled dog. That's the noun of the subject.
Perfect, Rattenborough.
Now, I know there's no action verb here because there's no action. So I'll look for a linking verb. Scholars, do you see the linking verb? If you said seems, you found it. So Candy will draw a squiggly line under seems. Next, we'll need to divide the subject and the predicate. Since seems is a linking verb, we'll draw the line in between dog and seems. Perfect! Scholars, let's read the subject with Rattenborough. The dog. Now, let's read the predicate. Seems droopy and sad. Now, let's look for adjectives. Candy, box in droopy and then box in sad. Those describe the dog. We need to box the too. It's an article. You are quick. Now, we can't forget the arrows. Candy, let's draw those arrows from all the adjectives to dog because that's what they describe.
Wow, Rattenborough, you're amazing. You guided us nicely through this sentence. I think you must be working towards something.
Oh yes, that delicious wedge of cheese Amanda promised me. Well, I'll keep my promise. Since you're such a great guide, let's guide the scholars through this review of some parts of speech that we discussed today. All righty, I'm ready. So, we've got some definitions up here. Candy has the words for them. Let's work together under Rattenborough's guidance to determine which word goes with which definition.
Let's read our definitions first. Words that name people, places, or things. General and are not capitalized. Specific and are capitalized. Words that show action. Words that show no action but connect the subject to a word or words in the predicate that describe it. Words that describe nouns.
All right, Candy, show us our first word. That says adjectives. I know adjectives describe nouns. It belongs with that definition. Yeah, there it is.
Found it. Okay, here's our next word.
Proper nouns. Scholars, what do you think? Hey, I heard someone say specific and capitalized. That's it. She's got it with the right the right definition.
Got it. Next, we have
nouns. Now, what do you all remember about nouns? Well, we know nouns are words that name people, places, or things.
That's right. I'll add it right there.
What's next, Candy?
The next word is verbs.
All right. Verbs are words that show action. That was an easy one. Put it beside that definition.
Great job. What about this one? Common nouns. Scholars at home, what do you remember about common nouns?
I heard it. Common nouns are general. They are not capitalized. Candy's got it all taken care of. Now, Rattenborough, that only leaves one definition. What connects the subject to a word or words in a predicate that describe it? All right, this is it. This is what we learned about today. Scholars, what was it? Who said it? Linking verbs. Ding, ding, ding.
And here it is. I'll put linking verbs with its definition.
Amazing work. Now we've learned about subjects and predicates and even linking verbs and put our knowledge of verbs and nouns to work. We have been working on all things about animals too. So let's put it all together for a few fantastic final minutes. Oh, this sounds very interesting.
It sure does. I think you're going to like this, Rattenborough.
All right, Candy has some sentence parts that need some other words to make it a complete sentence. We have to work together to make them make sense. Great! All of this is right up my alley. I'm ready. Okay, Candy, here's the first sentence part. It says, invertebrate with 6 legs. Okay, that's a great clue. Invertebrates are animals without spines. So that rules out rats and humans. Do you think this is the subject or the predicate of a sentence? Well, I do see some nouns, but I also see the word is. I know that word is a linking verb. This part is the predicate. Great start. What subject could we add to this predicate to make it a complete thought? We've already ruled out rats and humans, but insects have 6 legs. So we could say an insect and add it to the predicate. Scholars at home, read the complete sentence with me after Candy writes it. Here we go. An insect is an invertebrate with 6 legs.
Yes, that's perfect. Here's the next sentence part.
The tortoise. Definitely not a complete thought. There's no verb here at all. It needs a verb. So it needs a predicate. This is a subject that needs a predicate as badly as I need some cheese whiz. Well, you're right. So what could be the perfect predicate? Okay, I know a tortoise is a reptile. A reptile is cold-blooded. So could we add all of that?
Rattenborough, great thinking. You dictate it to me and I will write it down.
The tortoise is a cold-blooded reptile. Wow, what a great sentence. Yes, Rattenborough, a perfect pair with the subject and predicate and good factual information as well. Now, we have one more sentence part. Read it, Rattenborough. Deserves a cheese wedge. Deserves a cheese wedge? Yeah! The best sentence part of the day. Deserves is a verb that begins this predicate. It needs a subject, and I have just the subject it needs. The rat. Great, Rattenborough. When Candy writes it, let's read it all together just to make sure that it makes sense. Oh, I'm absolutely positively 100% sure it's going to make sense. The rat deserves a cheese wedge. Yes, you do. And here you go.
I've had so much fun today, learning all about subjects, predicates, and linking verbs. And Rattenborough, you do deserve that cheese wedge. And scholars at home, you deserve a round of applause. Thank you all for joining us today, boys and girls. Keep reading and keep learning.
Thank you, Amanda and Candy. All rights and credits for today's lesson belong to Core Knowledge Language Arts. We would like to thank them for publicly sharing these valuable resources. The views and opinions expressed in this lesson are those of the Core Knowledge authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Mississippi Department of Education. Thanks, Amanda and Candy. Boys and girls, thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.